I think we got something special here. Hey, welcome. This is my living room. This is low budget, filming with my GoPro, just to point that out. I'm going to show you, this video is going to be me putting together granny squares. That's going to be, I'm going to build a bag. I'm going to make a bag out of granny squares. So first what you want to do is take your granny squares and put them on your working table upside down. What I mean by that is you want the side that's going to end up being the inside of the bag sticking up, facing up. So most of you can tell where your working yarn is, like where the tail end of the yarn is. You want that facing up. I probably spent way too much time explaining that one. So you can find out the diagram online if you just Google granny square bag diagrams. I remember how they go. It's kind of easy to remember if you think about it. So you have basically a heart like this. See the heart? It's kind of like a heart. And then you have an X. I don't have studio lighting, guys. So I'm using a table with a lamp sitting on it. So you have your little heart like that. And then you're going to have an X. It's going to be like that. So you got your X. So you have your heart, and then you put an X down there. Make sure all your squares are facing, the ones that are facing you right now that we're looking at are going to be the side, the dirty side. We'll just call it the dirty side, where your tails are from when you tied them all in. So we have that set. I recommend using a hook that's smaller than the diameter of what you've used. It might help you pull the yarn through. So for example, this yarn here that I've used to make these granny squares with, it's a 5.5 millimeter. I don't know the letter number, but I just go off of millimeters. And this hook is a 3 millimeter. So that's my advice on that. And the next thing you want to do is, sometimes it helps to plan out where your route is, and it'll help you in a way that you won't have to keep stopping, cutting your tail, tying on again, and repeating that process. So from my experience, if you map out where you're going, kind of pre-plan it. So I could go this way, run your stitching that way, go this way, and then down this way, run it across this way, that way, back up, and then across. And that would be a nice long run like that. So you first, after you figure that out, you first want to make a slip stitch. Go ahead and grab your first two that you're going to put together. Just go ahead and grab them. And my technique might differ from other people, but on all my corners, I like to make three single crochets in each corner. And it's going to be 1, 2, 3, just like so. And then you're going to crochet single crochets on the outside of one and the outside of the other square. So it's outside loop only. outside loop to outside loop. And you just do that across the whole way, just like that. And eventually you'll get to the end. Now it's not the end of the world if you miss some. You don't get the outside loop and you end up getting the inside of one or the other. It's not going to be that visible. But it does make a cool pattern in the end. Feel free to fast forward this video at this point if you're already caught on to what we're doing. I decided to make a full-length video of this because it's always good to have information out there. All right, so we made it to the end of this corner. I'm just going to double check and make sure we're going in the right spot here. I'm going to make my 3 single crochets here in this corner. Just like that. All right, so we have this section connected. So that's going to go like that. Now we're going to run it to the next set. So we're going to grab these two along with the ones we just did. And we're going to connect the next squares together. So take your next square. You want to connect. So what I'm doing is try not to confuse you. Make sure, let's put it back here so we can see what we're doing. So I'm going to connect this square to that square in that hole. Then I'm going to connect this square to that square. And then I'm going to connect that square to that square, all in the corners. And then I'll come back and I'll stitch that up. So that's the next step. So in all reality, I can just grab these two right now. I'm going to connect those two. Three single crochets in this corner. We got that one right. Just like that. Now we're going to connect these two right here. So let's connect those just like that. Got the laundry going. This is the home edition, guys. This is low budget. This is what I got. So as you can see, we have those connected. We just connected those two. Now we're going to connect these two just like that. So let's grab those. connect these guys. Three single crochets in that corner. Now we have all four corners connected. The next step is going to be running along that way. So find your spot. Find the closest stitch that you can. And it's not super critical on this first stitch here to be on the inside loops, as long as you get them together, and then you can start working your way. Can be, I'm sorry, outside to outside. I said inside, didn't I? Well, sure, it'll be fine. Either way you do it, it doesn't really matter. It's all about the aesthetics. It's going to look one way or another. You could go through both loops actually if you wanted to. You could go through outside and outside, or inside and inside. You could go through both holes, both loops together, just like a regular crochet. So it's outside to outside. That's what I'm doing. There's no right and wrong on that part. It's all a matter of personal preference. You can, that's something that you can play around with if you want to. And sometimes you can crochet 2 times in a spot if you end up skipping a couple. Now here I'm at the corner, so I'm doing my 3 single crochets in a corner. Now we can sit it down and look at it. We got that together. Now we're going to make our turn. So just like this. And we're back. That's our pattern. Now we're going to turn this way, but we want to connect this and that together. This one and that one together. And then we're going to go this way. And I just noticed that I have that upside down. So we make some mistakes sometimes. It's fine. Fine. So we're just you're gonna see this, how it happens like this. Sometimes you make a little boo-boo. This is the reality of art. Sometimes you make little hiccups. So I didn't have that one upside down. I noticed that too late. Now we're gonna step back and we're gonna redo this. All good. So you can see everyone makes mistakes, but they're all fixable. Not like we painted onto a project or anything. So we got that corrected. This is not a perfect world. It's just part of the process. You're along with me on this trip. like that. Now we're going to connect those two. Three single crochets in each corner. All right. Got that all set. All right. No problem. And then we're going to continue. So now we got our squares where they need to be. I'm just double checking, making sure that everything's good. Not necessary to put them down like that every time you finish one, but I just want to do this step by step so that you can see how I'm doing this. So I'm trying to stick with the outside loops. Like I said earlier, it really doesn't matter. Just going to change the way it looks in the end. All right. We'll continue on. All the way down. I'll end up putting a liner in on the inside of this. I'm thinking right now I'm going to do black. Really digging the color black on liners. But you can get creative with that. We can put any kind of liner that you want. And now we reached a corner. We're going to do 3 single crochets. Just like that. Okay. I am going to lay it down to see where we're at. Now we're going to connect those corners. This is where I was before I made a little mistakey. Three single crochets. And then we're gonna continue that path down this way. Single crochets on the outside loops. For me, it's my preference. You can do inside and inside. You can do inside outside. It's all whatever your heart's desire on that design perspective. If you know how to do invisible stitches, you can look up how to do invisible stitches. I've seen people do that. There we go. Last one. Okay, now we're at our corner, so we're going to do 3 singles. 3 singles there. Now we're gonna lay it back down. We know where we're gonna go. Now we're gonna go this way. So we went these two, that one. Now we're gonna go this way. We'll end up coming all the way down here. But first, what you want to do is connect these two, or we want to connect all 4 of those actually. So we're going to connect this one to that one, this one to that one, and this one to that one. We already have that one connected. So we're going to connect these 2 together. And it's not necessary to do 3 single crochets in every single one in the corners. You can do just 1 single crochet if you wanted to. Now we're going to connect this one and that one. You can also use clips to clip all the corners together. That's all up to you too. And you're going to slowly end up with them all connected. All right, we got those connected. So our next one is going to be this one and that one. Just like that. Okay, so we got all those connected. Now we're going to make our run this way, all the way down to here. So we're going to connect these 2. So far, we have all these connected, so we have to carefully maneuver this stuff. It gets a little cumbersome, but if you're able to manage it well, it's not really that big of a deal. All right, so let's make our run down. You'll find out that if you hold the squares just right, you can do what I'm doing here. I used to have to spread each square apart to get into them. Although it does help having a smaller hook to do this. It lets you get into the tighter spots a little bit easier. Now we're at a corner. Go ahead, 3 single crochets. And let's evaluate where we're at. All right. So we are right here. We did that run. We just went across that way. We're going to do this set. But before we do that, we need to connect that one to that one, this one to that one, and this one to that one. So let's get this together. All right, so we're going to connect these two. Connect those two. Just like that. So you see what we just did? Now we're going to connect these two together right here. Okay, now these two together. Make sure we got everything right. All our squares are facing the right direction. Looking good. All right. And then those two. We have these two. It might help you have a little bit of a better table than I do here in the living room. But for now, this will work. All right, so we have those connected. Now we're going to make our next run down this way. So let's connect those. Very carefully, get it in there. Sometimes you'll find spots where your tie-ins are together, and that's all right. It helps having the smaller hooks so you can get in between some of the knots if you've knotted things up. The benefit of having a smaller hook. All right, now we're at a corner. Go ahead and connect those. Let's evaluate what we did. Cool, looking good. Now we're going to connect these two together. So those two are going to go together like that. Make sure everything's facing upright. So let's carefully. Now we're getting a bunch of squares in our hands. Let's look at this one more time. Sometimes sometimes things get a little out of whack. All right, so we know what we're going to do. We want these two together. All right, so since we're going to go this way, I'm going to work it like this, just like that. I almost got backwards. Almost got backwards on it. Make sure we got our corners. We're doing our corners where our gaps are, the big holes. Got those connected. Now, I have to make sure my mic doesn't turn off. Shoot, man. All right. Going this way. We're going to go this way, and we're going to end up going down this one too. I'm just being real careful to make sure that I don't make any wrong connections here. Okay, we're at a corner. 3 single crochets. Good. All right. Now, at this point, you want to connect this one and that one, this one to that one, this one to that one. So our first one is going to be this one to that one. Looking good. Now we want to connect this one and that one. Just like that. And then this one and that one. Corner to corner. I get all the corners together like this so that I know that they're all together. All right, all those corners are together. Now we're going to go across this way. Let's go ahead and do that. Now we have a corner. Okay, it's coming together. Now we're going to turn. We're going to go this way. We need to connect this corner to that corner first, and then we're going to make our way down. Connect these, and we're going to run this way. Go ahead and continue that path. All right, so we got that corner done. Now we're going to connect we want to connect to, you can go ahead and connect this one to that. And then we're going to continue this way. Let's get our hook on here. So we're going to pick up, we're going to connect that, and we're going to run it down. Bring this through here. Connecting this and running it all the way. Three single crochets. And then we're going to make our way down. Sometimes you'll split a yarn just like that. A little easier to do when you're using smaller hooks with thick yarn. All right, now we're at this corner and connect it. Okay. I think we're doing good. Now, we made it there. At that point, we want to connect this corner and that corner, and then we're going to continue this way. And when we make this point, when we run into this point, we're going to go over it because those corners are already connected. So connect these two corners, continue on stitching to this point. At this section of the build, or at this point of the build, we're all joined up. We have all the squares together, but they're not stitched together completely. We have all the corners together that we can get at this point. We still have some corners to go, but for the most part, this is all connected. We're not complete just yet. Making good progress though. Sometimes the stitches aren't exactly across from each other, and if I ever get to that point, I'll double stitch into a section. So here's where I need to jump over. Check my mic, make sure it's not dying. So at this point, we want to jump over. We don't need to crochet into these holes. They're already done. We're going to jump over straight into the next stitch. I like to make a slip stitch in the middle part somewhere. So I'm going to find a piece of yarn, maybe a couple. I'm just going to go ahead and slip stitch. And that brings the yarn closer, a little bit closer. It just helps me. And then we're going to connect these two together. There's a spot where I just need to crochet a couple times in the same part. Okay, we're going to connect these corners just like that. Okay, looking good. Now what I want to do is connect these two together, and then I'm going to continue that path all the way down to that end. So a little bit easier to work with now that everything is connected. I can move this as a one whole piece. So these two are going to go together. And then we're just going to continue all the way down. I got some squeaking going on with my needles. Sometimes I like to, if I ever have squeaking, you can either take your work carefully, rub it like that, or just take your shirt, rub it, get your needle cleaned off a little bit. My batteries only last a couple hours on my external microphone, so once they die, I'll switch over to the onboard camera microphone. All right, so we're at this corner part here. I'm going to slip stitch this, which by doing so helps me bring my working yarn a little bit closer. Just slip stitch somewhere in the middle of that corner piece area. And we're going to continue. Make sure we don't split yarn just like I did. There we go. Maybe. Find yourself a knot there. Just carefully find an opening to go through. All right, we're at another corner. Let's evaluate where we're at. So here we are. Now we need to go straight across. Just right there. So let's go ahead and slip stitch this right here in the corner area. It's going to help bring over our yarn just a little bit closer. It's not necessary to do that, but I like to do it. It's something that I do. We're going to connect these two squares together. If you have to go through a loop 2 times just to get back on track, it's okay. Going outside to outside. Don't get too hung up. If for any reason you lose track of if you're on the inside or outside loops, it's really not a big deal. As long as you're connecting them, that's the main thing. Connecting the squares, that's what you want to do. This is just a method that I do by going on the outside loops. Grab a hold of that one again, split the yarn. I'm a little off on this one, I can see. All right, now we're at the corner. Connect those with 3 single crochets. Now, at this point, I can't go any further because I'm at the end. Now, I could fold it at this point, which I might do. So what we'll do is check our mic, make sure it's the one. We can fold it to get your bag where it needs to be. When you fold it, you want to make sure you're working your inside out. So the outside, how would you explain that? You want to make sure that your tails are still facing out. All your granny square tails are still facing outward. You don't want them on the inside. We can flip it over and you can see that's the shape of the bag. Just like that. It's going to be, so you have your design or your pattern is just like that. So you just take it and put it up like that. And you have these 2 squares, they're going to go in like that. Now before I tie off anything, I'm going to look at this and see if I can continue using this string. If I can continue using this yarn, I'm going to connect, I can connect these 2. I can go this way, run along this side, this way, and connect that without cutting the tail off right now. I can still use that string. And then I'll have to tie in over here and do another round, do another section over there. So let's go ahead and do that. So since we're at a corner junction, now I know that these 2 are connected. What I want to do is connect this corner with that corner. So it's going to be this corner and that corner together. And then when I turn that over, I want this one and that one connected. So right now, I'm going to connect these 2 together. Let's connect to those 2. And then I'm going to connect this one and that one together. Okay. Get situated here. I'm going to connect those two. And those are connected. Those are connected. Everything looks good right now. We could. I connected those. Those are all connected. Now we're going to run this. We're going to run this way down, and we'll end up connecting those two. And then we're going to have to connect those two. So let's do that. We're getting close to a corner. Looks like we're there. We're at a corner point. I'm going to connect one more here. All right, now we're at a corner. We're going to connect those two. Do that again. It's split a yarn. It happens. All right. Now we want to connect these two together. And then we're going to continue that path down. Every now and then, you'll see me look down at my mic. I'm just checking to make sure the microphone doesn't die on me. All right, so let's do this. Let's do this. We're getting there. We're making headway. It gets a little weird on the corners like that. Just have to be aware of what you're doing. Make sure you know what spots you're going into. You don't want to rush it. I'm kind of picking up each side as I go, which is okay. I'm just making sure that I'm going into where I want to go into. I've made bags where I just go through like a normal crochet, go through both loops on each square. You can do that. I think I mentioned that in the beginning. This is just my design technique that I like to do. All right, now we're at a corner. So we have those corners. We have that. This one going to go together with this square right here. Now if we look at this, kind of spread it open, we just connected those corners. Now we need to connect this one and that one. And then we're going to continue down, and then we'll end up cutting off at that point because we can't go any further. We've reached our point on this side where we've ran out of squares to put together. And those corners are already connected, so we're not going to do anything to that. I believe we connected them. Actually, I lied. We need to connect. Let's look at this. So if you're not sure if you've connected something, what you can do is look on the inside, take your bag, go on the inside and check it out and see. So I know I've connected those two. These two are connected, and these are not. So I do need to connect those. I wasn't sure. So we're at this point. We're going to go ahead and connect those. Sometimes you have to do that. Flip it on the, look on the inside and see what you've done. All right, now those are connected. I'm going to slip stitch. I'm just going to slip stitch through this. Like that. Slip stitch that. All right, we can cut our end here. can tie that in later. So that's together. Now, what we have left is this part, which is basically just what we did on the other side. We want to leave that open. That's good. That's good. All right. So looking at this, make sure our squares are turned right. We can start up here, connect it, work our way around through the other side, continue on there, and then we'll meet back on the other side of there. So let's go ahead and tie on a tail. Make your slip stitch, tie it on. We're going to start at the corners. All right, we've got our corner connected. Now we're just going to continue connecting the square, or these squares, these two squares together. If you don't know where you're at, just spread apart the squares every now and then just to look at them, like I am right now. Just kind of looking and make sure I'm in the right direction, I'm on track. All right, now we're getting close to the next corner. I'm going to go through this hole twice. All right, so let's connect those. So we're going to connect this corner. All right, and then we're going to connect these two together. And then we're going to continue putting those together. It does help if you can match up the squares. You can hold them together kind of like a sandwich. Makes your job a little bit easier. All right, we're at a corner. Go ahead and connect those. Looking good. Check my mic. Mic's still good. One day I'll have a microphone that I don't need to worry about batteries. All right, now we're at this turning point. I can see where we're at. I do have a section here that I'm going to have to tie off on one part here. It happens. You're going to have to tie off sometimes. So let's see. We have our corners. We're going to connect this one to that one. And then we're going to end up doing that one to that one. Let's connect those. When I first started making these, I probably tied off every single hole or every single corner. I didn't think about planning things out before I started connecting the squares. A little bit of a trial and error. All right, I'm going to make this run down here to. Okay, we're back to where we were. Had to do a little battery change rooski. Now we did our 3 in that corner. We're just going to run this all the way down. At this point, I need to verify that these corners are connected. I'm going to flip it inside out and just check. And we need to connect these two right here. I can see that those two are connected right there and those two are, but these aren't. I'm just going to hold it with my fingers. I know that that's the point I need to connect. All right. Now if I forget to connect them and I find out later on that I needed to, I'll just do it afterwards. Not a huge hiccup or anything like that. So I like to slip stitch right there. I slip stitch right into the corner just to tighten it up a little bit. Cut our tail. All right, now we have one last little piece. Okay, we're gonna need to connect, we need to connect this piece to that. We need to connect this run and that run. And if you look, we need to see if our corners are connected there. So they are. Okay, all those corners are connected. I can see that I have stitches in each four corners there. So no need to connect any corners. I'm just going to run. I'm going to check this corner too. Okay, I need to connect this part right here. Or do I? No, those are connected. Oh, we got corners connected there. That's good. All right then. We're just going to tie on like normal. Do our slip knot. Not connecting the corners. They're already done. We're just going to make our run, make our way down right to each section. Run this all the way down till we meet up on the other square. It helps to hold the squares together like a sandwich if you can. I'm just double checking, making sure I'm going through the loops that I like to go through. I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but you could go through all the loops if you wanted to. You could blindly just go in and stitch them together if you wanted to. But keep in mind that your final project on the outside is going to create some kind of pattern. And this is a pattern I like, so I use it. All right, so here we are at our corner. Carefully trying not to split my yarn. So I know those corners are already connected. I'm only going to this point right up here because the opening of the bag is going to be, you don't want to close off the opening of the bag. That's number one. So since I'm kind of far away from where I need to be, I'm going to slip stitch right here. That brings me a little bit closer. I'm going to grab my two squares that I need to join and kind of sandwich them, cake them together, sandwich them together. I don't know what term you'd use for that, but just get them close together and it makes life a lot easier. Just like that. And we are just about done. I will mention, since I'm getting close to the end, that when you finish this part, the next step that I like to take is creating a border on the top of my bag. So I'll do 2 rounds of half double crochet around the top part of the bag. It just creates a nice look and it brings everything together, especially where the corners meet. So speaking of corner, I'm going to connect this corner. I need to connect that corner together. But I've skipped a couple stitches, so I'm going to double in one hole there. All right, now we're at the corner. There are 3 single crochets, just like that, and we're about done. All right. Now, what I think I'm going to do is check. I didn't connect those. Okay, so don't need to connect. Let's see, I got those connected. I'm just evaluating what I've done here. So I got those connected. I'm going to look on the other side and see how I did this, because it appears that I connected these right there. I connected those two. So I have 3 sections. So that one's connected and this one's connected. I'm going to connect these two together up here, because I did it on the other side. Just making sure, crossing my T's here. So I'll connect this section right here. Just like that. And then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to cut my tail on. Pretty much done. Now we can, let's just double check and make sure everything's connected. I have tails to tie in. I have a number of tails. Okay though. Now we're going to flip this inside out and just take a look at it and see what it looks like. I think it looks great. So you can see all of our corners are connected. We have all the corners are connected. I might have missed 1 or 2, but I'm not gonna cry about it. Like I mentioned, after I finished the squares, I put 2 rows of half double crochets around the whole edge of the top. So I'll do 2 rounds of half double. You could do any kind of stitch that you want, but half doubles are my favorite. You could do single, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I finished that up. Then I'll end up putting handles on. I'll make 2 handles, 30-inch handles. Make sure you stretch your handles out nice before you, well, when you take your measurements with the handles, stretch them out. This is the bag. Got that put together. So border next, handles, put a liner in it, and we'll call it good. Thanks for watching. I hope that helped. I know it's a long and drawn out process, but felt like I needed to make one of these videos because I don't have any of these start to finish projects. All right, well, thanks for watching. If you like it, subscribe and hit the like button, follow for more, and I'll continue crocheting. Thank you so much.